Mm-hmm.
Three, 2, 1. Hold on, I have to click two buttons. Okay, 1. All right, and we are live. There's nobody here yet.
Haven't gotten the notification.
Right, right. Well, I mean, they'll eventually shuffle in. Besides, on YouTube or whatever, that's not really going to matter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be on YouTube. Today we have
Mm.
our special guest of Taturium, who is
Hi,
returning for the second time.
I'm back.
And Saki is here as always, or as hopefully usual. Creative could not make it. Creative couldn't make it. He has family visiting. He needs to go do that. So we're gonna do this in the meantime.
Hey, let's go.
Right, right.
Let's go.
So
Let's do this. What's up? What's up,
yep.
everybody?
So on the docket today, the big story is yesterday was the Kunoichi Female Invitational Tournament,
Woo!
and that was actually Tat's first ever tournament.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
And Saki couldn't make it, which I was kind of surprised. Why weren't you in that? I thought you were kind of a
Um,
wash for taking it, because you could beat
uh,
Shauna, you could beat all them.
oh no, I can. I can. I have no doubt. The I just didn't agree with the tournament. That's all.
Oh, not touching that,
Yeah.
are we?
So I strongly believe that if you organize a tournament, you shouldn't be participating in it for various reasons.
Mm.
Um, you can have one of your girls participate. Like like there's enough players on their team to actually like say, hey, this is our representative of our brand. But like in Valkyries, if I was creating a tournament, I wouldn't be participating in it because I don't see every tournament I even organize. I don't participate no matter the cash money because one, my job will be kind of like really struggling and difficult because I'd have to worry about my match and then also worry about everybody else's matches. Um, and two, it's just an ethic and business thing. Um, it's the same thing with commentating. Like if I'm commentating, the chances of me actually like playing in a tournament are very slim unless it's like a very small tournament. But if it's like something like Combo Breaker or like something big as that and I'm commentating, I wouldn't comment. I wouldn't play. I would rather just commentate.
I agree with that. I did not know that the person organizing the tournament was in it. I mean, they didn't
Yeah.
win though, so I guess.
They did. No,
Oh,
no,
they
no, they
did.
did. They were
Yeah.
top three. They were top three, which is the other thing that bothered me. But I'm not saying that they're bad because obviously they went through the bracket. They got their wins. You know, this wasn't anything shady. But like, if that top three could have gone to Dream, for example, who got fourth, and she would have been at least like second or first because she's a really good player too. Um, but again, I just didn't agree with it. I'm happy though that they found some women to highlight, especially because the last time was only invitational, and here they tried to like look for a lot of the other girls in the scene. Um, but I didn't agree with it, just for many reasons, and one of them was again, all three of them participated and they got like top three. It was like okay,
I
so what
can
was the whole point?
I can see though why people like that's. It's a conflict of interest, you know. I'm sure they didn't do any shenanigans.
No,
I'm
no,
pretty
no.
sure
I'm
they
not saying
didn't.
that.
But
No,
the
no, no.
people
I'm not
don't
saying
know
that.
that. That's the problem. Is the people entering don't
Yeah.
know if there's bracket fixing and things like that going on. And again, I'm not saying that they did. I'm fairly certain they didn't. Because obviously they would have, if they were trying to bracket fix, they would have put Taturium up against one of their players in the first round because she has no
Uh,
tournament experience, and that didn't happen.
so I did look at
No,
the,
I did
the
not.
seating. I did look at the seating, and the seating was done pretty properly. I would say like it was really well done. Um, like I said, like the issue isn't that like they won because they earned their wins. I'm not saying anything contrary. It's just Like if you're running the whole bracket, if you're organizing this whole thing, you're probably gonna get money because with CGL being a very well-funded org, I'm sure like it's more than just a volunteer job for some of them. Um, I know, like for example, Valkyries pays me sometimes when I'm doing tournaments as like a good gesture of like, hey, thanks for running our tournament. Um, but it's like you're organized it and you're top three, and we're stuck with this. Like I said, you didn't do anything. You just, unfortunately, with the way things are, like with how you did so well in the brackets, like, all right, not many people know that you're all three of you are in the group, or all three of you are the organizers. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just the potential for shenanigans is the concern. I did not know that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
it is what it is at this point. They probably, you think about a tournament like that, it's more the intention was probably to showcase their talent more so
Oh,
than
for sure. It
anything.
was to showcase all the women's talent, and I was a little surprised that there weren't more because their full on manager asked for names, and I was like, oh yeah, here's all of these girls' names. One of them was Taturium actually, because I know Taturium was telling me like, hey, I'm really trying to get better so I can actually compete and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
hold up. I got you. So like one of her name was one of the names that I gave to the manager, and I was really hoping to see a lot of them play because a lot of them all have stated that they actually have wanted to compete and play and be part of like the competitive setting. Um, it was surprising to me that it was like a 17 or 16 women bracket, but everybody got highlighted, everybody was showcased. It
Not
was also
everybody. Some people weren't on stream.
Not really.
oh, that's right, Taturium, you weren't on stream because of your
No.
internet issues, which
But
sucked.
that's okay though.
But we were there with you in spirit.
Right?
Yeah. I was being hyped up a lot in the comment section, and it literally, like, I saw everybody in the comments and I literally started like to cry because I felt so loved. I was so happy.
We
That's
And
ran
then
that chat.
NetherRealm showed up,
Yes.
We
and
ran that chat.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised to see NetherRealm in the chat.
Yeah, that
it's a good
really
look.
that caught me off guard.
So I'm not surprised either. They're very intuitive, especially when it comes to the women's side, like to showcase the women. Because I like when you kind of think about it, the only like before MK11, probably the lesser names. Sorry, not the lesser names. The bigger names that you would like hear is Infinity and SMG Princess and some of the Sirens, and like you didn't really see a lot of women actually like going out there and competing, and so MK11 kind of has that little change in tide, and it's really awesome to see them like support those initiatives, which is why again I say that like the tournament was done with good intentions. It was just executed a little weird. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to deal with
I
that.
agree.
Plus, I had exhibitions to do, and like I was in the timing of it too was also weird. So I had initially said yes too, but then they told me that like before 3 days that it started, they added me to a group chat, and they're like, "Hey, tournament's this Saturday." I'm like, what?
Yeah, that
Wait a
really
minute.
threw me off too because I went in and I got the message and I got put into the group chat on Thursday, and then they were like, "Oh, by the way, you have 2 days to prepare." And it literally, I was fine with it because it was my first one. I just assumed that either that was normal or it was just a, hey, we're really trying to get people in it, so we're just gonna tell you that this is a thing now. And I
Yeah.
literally spent all of Thursday like night. I stayed up until like 1 playing. I played sets with Saki that
Played
night.
sex with Saki. All right. This took a
No.
very interesting turn.
Sets with Saki. I did sets with Saki that night, and then I spent 5 hours on Friday, like nonstop. Badger set up a Forever King, and I just grinded for like 5 hours, and I drained myself on a character that I didn't use, by the way.
Sindel, right?
No, I played Cassie for those 5 hours, and then I went into the tournament and used Jade.
Oh, but honestly, that sometimes happens to me. Like, so what's interesting, that you mentioned that is like you always want to practice the movement. Like you want to. I think of practicing like the fundamentals, before a tournament, before an actual character, and then before the tournament, I like to do the muscle memory practice because that's just trying to like warm me up. Um, but for me, when I do tournaments, I'm practicing either Jade or Sindel. And the reason I do that is because I know that when it comes to an actual person, it just would depend on what's happening. Like anything could determine that this matchup's not good for Jade or this player is not good for Jade. So I'm going to go
Mhm.
Sindel and vice versa. So it's good to have practice and it's good to understand what you can do fundamentally with each of the characters and more than just their muscle memory and their B&B combos.
Yeah, like I practiced with Jade before because we had determined that I was just going to go in with Jade.
Mm-hmm.
And I practiced for a good couple hours with her before the tournament because they had moved it. So I had extra time. They moved it from 5 to 6,
Mm-hmm.
which also kind of threw me off guard. And I think I would have been fine connection wise if it had started at 5. And then if that had happened later, we could have had the time to fix it because I probably wouldn't have been playing at that time.
It's
But
actually it's
the whole
actually
situation kind of threw me off.
yeah. It's actually good that all that shit went wrong for you, to be honest, because it kind
Mm-hmm.
of prepared you. Because when you're, especially offline tournaments, oh my God, the shit that goes wrong in offline tournaments. Like you show up and you're this is why I generally don't play DLC seriously. Because you'll show up and it's like, okay, you're on station 3, and it's like, oh, station 3 doesn't have DLC.
Doesn't have the DLC.
And you're
I've
just
had
like,
that. Like
oh,
almost every offline tournament has had that happen to me. Someone didn't have Frost. Like I was on stream, and my characters are there because obviously I use Jade and I think Sindel. Well, Sindel was
Mm-hmm.
already out, but like Sindel was downloaded because obviously you had to buy the combat pack.
Yeah.
But the my opponent, who is Maverick, who's really well known as a good Frost player down here in Florida, he uses Frost, and everybody knows that you can either buy Frost or you can just download Frost after you beat like chapter 5 or 6. And so when we got to the station, the PlayStation didn't have Frost. And the dude had spent the entire night trying to play on all of the stations to unlock her for free. And then it was like, you know what? F this. I'm just gonna buy her so that at least we don't have this problem again. And they had to like buy Frost to download it. I did steal the Wi-Fi at that point though, because like it was pretty well known that the Wi-Fi was there. So I was able to take the Wi-Fi and yeah, I've had that happen to me all the time. Or there's like a certain station where you have to go. Like when Shang came out, everybody was or Shang or Shao. Both of them, they were on a station, and they're like, "You have to use this station if you main Shang or Shao," and like you see everybody going over there because that's the only stations they can use.
yeah. Yeah, like you gotta, like, online tournaments, a lot of stuff usually doesn't go as bad as it did. I mean, they have their own problems, but oh my God, like there's nothing that can prepare you for all the shit that will go wrong and all of the stuff that you just get.
Yeah, I was so unprepared for that to happen. Like I expected something at least to go wrong, but then that happened and I was like, "Oh, so that's a thing." And now I'm going to have a panic attack about it.
Oh my goodness.
It was
I know
terrible.
so hard. I know the feeling. I've actually so like there's two things that also happen too on offline tournaments that like is super common is when controllers don't desync, right?
Oh my God, I've
Final
lost so
Kombat.
much shit to that.
It's
I
like
remember watching that happen at Final Kombat when it was live and people were like, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
Fucking PlayStation is what's going on.
it's because people don't forget to unplug their controller because it's a Bluetooth controller. So obviously, if they do a movement and it's not desynced, they're still like it's still gonna register. So it's like the craziest thing.
Or even
Um,
worse
and
is when they don't fucking delete it from the PlayStation and then they plug into another console and they hit the home button and then it fucking
Yeah.
does the home screen while you're in the middle of a fucking match, and you're just like, what the fuck is you unprofessional motherfuckers? I'm wearing a tie. Don't you know I'm professional here?
Oh my goodness. But when it comes to online, like I can tell you, Tat, that like I've had a couple of like those moments too, where like so my thing is that like there's a certain amount of time I can like really use my internet because I have a cap on my internet. So
Mhm.
obviously to like help with the cost and not going over, we have like a limit of like 6 or 7 hours where we can actually like use a wired internet basically. Um, and thank Comcast for that. So obviously, when I come home from work, I'm able to do that, no problem, right? Because I'm not home, I'm not using it. But when it's the weekend and there's like a Saturday or a Sunday tournament, even an exhibition, I'm like, fuck me, bro. How am I going to plan this to get to be able to actually compete? And so I've had moments where like I'll be in the middle of a match and like it will actually disconnect me and I'm like, okay, I guess I have to DQ myself because I don't have the wired internet anymore because obviously I used it. Or even before then I'm like, no, I don't want I want it to be wired. Why? So like there's just moments and stuff that happen, unfortunately, like the it just happens and you just have to like take it with a grain of salt. like like Badger said though, it's good that that happened to you because you get used to like, okay, not everything is has to be perfect or like super in order or super like straightforward, you know, like you're gonna be dealing with tournament nerves and you're gonna be dealing with like, why is everything going wrong? It happens, it's okay, that's what we do, that's how we get better. We go through the motions over and over again and it you just take it one step at a time.
Yeah, imagine. Just wait until
Tournament
you
there.
go offline. You're sitting there because tournaments are fucking crowded, and you're sitting there trying to play and
Yes.
focus, and there's some dude behind you calling you a fucker, and like, oh, and it's even worse if you're a girl. Like, you're a
Oh
skank.
my
Let me
god.
see your tits, you stupid bitch. Like, and
So
it's just in
awful.
your face, and because they're trying to
I
help their friend
actually
win.
It's true. It's so true. I actually my opponent actually could not believe I was beating him. I think he was playing Kung Lao, if I'm not
Of
mistaken.
course.
Of course. On an offline. This was an offline
Oh, those Lao
BTW.
players are pieces of shit, aren't they?
Oh my god, he was so mad and he was like he actually had to leave the venue because he could not believe that I was actually winning.
That sounds like a
Wow.
Lao player. That sounds like someone that plays Kung Lao. Those guys are dicks. Those guys are awful. Just wait. It's because like people will do that shit, and this is something I was telling Tat before the tournament. I was like, you need to be prepared for people to do some ornery shit. And like I've had friends do that shit for me. I remember I was at a one of the first MK9 tournaments, and I was playing this dude, and my buddies who don't go to tournaments, they just came to support, and they were talking so much shit on the guy that I was fighting. The guy I was fighting was a hard zoner, and they kept calling him a pussy. They're like, look, he's just running away. What a bitch. This is Immortal Kombat. And that guy got tilted, and I ended up taking the match because that guy got so pissed at my friends. People will do that shit. And in offline tournaments, the people that do well are the ones that can fight through it. It has nothing to do with game skill. It has everything to do with tournament skill.
Just shutting them out.
It's something you've got to cultivate. It's not easy. It's very, very hard, and the only way to get good at it is to just do it a whole fucking bunch.
I don't like tournament nerves.
No one does.
Nobody
I
does.
don't like
No
those.
one does. Everybody gets them though. Like, it's crazy because I was actually talking to Gur and to like my own coach Herbs, and like I was training under him, and one of the things that we realized was like one of the things holding me back is two things. It's confidence and my nerves. And so those are the two hardest things that any player can train for. Like you can go through the labs, you can go through the motions, but if you're not comfortable with like yourself and with your nerves, that's where it's gonna cost you like all the matches, all the rounds, all your decisions. um and it's just so crazy how like your mind works like that. So so one of the things I can tell you is like if you know your nerves is a thing, just keep going at it, keep practicing, let it flow through you so that you can then actually actually work on it and get better and actually be more calm about things.
Yeah, it's people discount that. I mean, I was arguing with a viewer the other day or yesterday about like more intricate combos in matches, and they're just bitching at me like, why don't you do this optimal, why don't you do this? And I'm like, dude, you don't understand the pressure you're on. You want to mitigate that. And I've seen guys go through entire tournaments doing nothing but like standing jabs and anti-airs because they're very easy to do and you won't fuck it up. And people don't necessarily think about how important it is not to win. It's just to not fuck up, because you got to take into consideration the other guy, whatever you're feeling, the other guy's feeling it too. If you're nervous, he's nervous too.
That's really comforting. What was also really comforting when I was in the tournament was half the girls that were in the group chat were also confused because like when my match started, I didn't know where to go because I was supposed to go on stream, but no one told me where I was supposed to be going. Like if there was a room, if someone was going to send me an invite, and it was kind of annoying because I was sitting there and I was already having problems with the PlayStation Plus not working, and like it was not going well, and then I don't even know where I'm supposed to go, and then they're like, okay, well, since you had this issue, now you have to play offline. But a lot of them were saying that it was their first tournament, and the girl that I had fought first, Vanity, Eternal Vanity, it was her first tournament, and she mopped the floor with me because I was in my head, one, but also it was so intimidating.
But you got to remember, they're intimidated.
It felt so weird. She was playing Jade. She was playing Untamable, which I thought that I was going to do so well because I play Untamable. I was going into it, I was like, man, I know all the tricks. I know everything. And then I didn't.
And then you got hit with staff slam pressure, and you're like, what the fuck? You got to
exactly. It was so aggravating. But I am very proud of myself. I got a flawless round.
Hey, see,
I was very happy. It was against a Sindel, because she was playing Royal Adinian. It was Mystify. It was my losers bracket match. I was playing offline, and it was a Royal Adinian, and she picked it, and I was like, yes, I know this one. Saki plays this one. I got this. And then I didn't. And I was getting so frustrated that I shoved her in the corner and just spammed her with back 3-4-3 and forward 3-4-3. I just kept spamming her because I was getting so aggravated, and I flawlessed her. And then she got really mad that I did that, and then I completely lost.
You got to keep that killer instinct. You got to keep that fighter's edge going through the whole round.
I was trying to keep her in the corner, but it just was not happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where momentum shifts are so important, and it's like when someone gets enraged and they activate Super Saiyan, God Super Saiyan, Blue Super Saiyan level 2, like it's just hard to contain them. Bruce Lee said it best. Nothing will stop a man from punching you if that's all he wants to do. Like, you cannot stop him. If he wants to punch you, he will punch you. Now, what are you going to do about it? And it's the same thing in tournament matches. It's like when you perfect someone and you humiliate them and they get mad and they're like, fuck, dude, I am pissed. I'm going to fuck this person up. And you're not ready. You're not ready for the beatdown. I expected her
to come back and be angry. But I'm at least proud of myself that in my first match against Eternal Vanity, I did get a couple rounds in. But I did lose 3-0. But in the Sindel match, I lost 3-1. And the one was the one that I got the flawless, I believe. So I'm just proud that I didn't completely lose. Like, I didn't even get a round in. Because that would have made me more upset. I'm proud of the fact that I went in and I did it. Because I was so close after the whole thing, after my panic attack. I was so close to just being like, I'm going to DQ. I'm going to leave.
Nah, that
But
would
I
be bitch
didn't.
assful. That actually that's one of the top symptoms of a bitch assfulness.
But I didn't. I went in. I was like, I'm just gonna do it,
See,
and I'm proud of what I did.
now you're gonna have the bug. Now you're gonna be like itching for tournaments. You're gonna be like, fuck,
I
when's
did
the
kind
next
of have a
fucking
bug.
tournament? Like, I need to fucking beat somebody's ass. Like, I'm sick of just fucking playing King of the Hill.
That
I want
was
to
what
beat someone's ass.
my parents did. My parents were in the room with me when I was going, and I lost, and I was really upset. I was like crying. I was so frustrated with myself because of the entire situation. And then I went in to go get a cheeseburger. I went into the kitchen, and they were like, "You know what you do now? You go into another one."
Did Saki just leave the Discord?
No.
No, I joined because.
Oh, what's up,
Hold on.
Steve?
Fuck it up.
Uh,
Hey, when cause I was listening to Tat talk about how she like got in her own head and how she was like freaking out and stuff, like that's totally normal. And she was like talking about how she did in terms of like rounds and stuff. And honestly, I don't think you should be counting that. It's like some people say when you like run sets, you shouldn't have your score counter on because when you see that number, it
Okay.
it starts messing with your own head, right? Because you're seeing it's like, oh, I've only won two, really, out of like 50 games. Like, no, dude, don't do that because you're there to learn, right? When you're practicing in a set, right?
But there's a
Um,
difference between a casual and a tournament set, friend.
well, well,
Like
yeah. So
like
hold on. So when you're talking about your results round by round, don't even think about that. Like my first time at Super was during the Injustice days, right? And I got bodied first of all. I went 0-2, and 0-2 is like just the start, right? Tat, you went 0-2, big deal. It's
Mhm.
your first tournament, and it's gonna be the first of many tournaments. And like you might go into it the next one, and the next one. When you don't, that's going to show progress on yourself, and you're going to feel it. You're going to be like, hell yeah, I went 0-2. And like I personally went 0-2 for a long time. Like my very first 0-2, I'm like, oh my god, dude, I suck at this game. You know who my first opponent was ever at Super? It was Tyrant.
oh God.
With his crud. And I went in there thinking I was hot shit. I'm like, dude, I win online games all the time. And like I've been to one offline event. And it was here in my hometown, and I got like second. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm fucking good at this game. And I sat down, I got rocked by Grodd, and then I don't even remember who my second opponent was. All I remember was just like thinking, dude, I suck at this game. And I almost didn't want to go back, but I went back, and just like Badger said, when you get that bug, that competitive bug, you're like, I'm here, you're there. There's nothing like being in a tournament, and so I just want you to not think about, hey, I went 0-2. Think about, hey, I played against two opponents, and this tournament experience will come in handy later, where you're not getting nervous. You're just like, oh, I have to play this person now. It's like, oh, this guy's up next. And then eventually you're not even like, oh, I have to play this guy. You're like, oh, I have to wait like 10 minutes before I can even check into my next match.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. We had outside interference, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Steve. He's a very notable Kotal player in the SoCal tournament scene. He's probably been to as many tournaments as me and Saki, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's Tat. Like, the thing is, once you get that bug, just wait till you get to offline tournaments. Honestly, once you get into offline tournaments and you see how much fun they are, like, nothing else matters. Nothing else compares. Like, that's all you want to do going forward. Once you get in one and you meet people in person and you have a good time, and I mean, in my case, I usually get pretty drunk. Um, but you will definitely want to do that again and again and again, and that's why everybody's kind of pissed off with coronavirus right now, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are like, hey man, I want to get in a fucking tournament, I'm sick of playing online. And yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So look, go through a little bit, Tat, your your matches, trying to go over a little bit more. So you got a flawless
I did.
victory, and you played a
That's dope.
Sindel main, correct?
I did, which I thankfully had practice with because I play with Saki a lot, and Saki plays V3, and that's the one that they went for, which kind of made me a little more comfortable because I went into it not thinking, oh, this is like, my mom was saying go into it thinking it's Kombat League, but I went into it thinking, okay, this is a set with Saki. You
That's
need to
actually
think of
really
it as a set with Saki, and if you think of it that way, then just, do what you would do there. But then she did not play the way that Saki played,
So here's the thing,
which is fine.
it's interesting that you say that because I have actually had sets with her, and she used to play splitting hairs, and I've told her to go to Royal Edenian because that's the variation that she would want to use competitively. Um, so that's actually a really good mindset to help you with your nerves. Now, when it comes to actual fighting, though, that's when you want to start developing your own style and your own like way of thinking when you're actually going through the motions against an opponent like that. You never want to think that your opponent is Combat League because what's in Combat League is completely different than what is in a tournament. I don't know what it is exactly. It is just always this way when it comes to like just the two of them. But Combat League is like, think of it as like a desperate person really hungry for anything, whereas tournament is like, okay, everybody has a little bit of respect for everybody.
To some extent. To some extent.
To some extent, yeah.
Like that was something that I was trying to tell her, is that when money and prestige and all that are on the line, there's very little honor involved. I was trying to tell her, I was like, make sure you're on time. Make sure if they're not on time, you report their ass and DQ them, because they will do that to you. And it's just a different setting. And then when you go into offline tournaments, people are a little more respectful in offline tournaments because they're there in person. And it's like, dude, you fuck with me, we're going to have a problem in the parking lot. But in an online tournament, the level of respect is less so.
Love watching online tournaments, especially with like Diddle, because Diddle will get on the mic, and I think that it's the funniest thing on the planet. I love watching just like online tournaments where somebody will get on the mic and just start yelling. I don't know. I know that that's kind of like rude, but I find it hilarious.
Well, that happens at locals. Like, you're not going to see that at like Evo or Combo Breaker or a bigger tournament. But at
No,
locals,
he did that in, I believe it was Vicious Vendettas when he was playing, I think it was Full Auto. It might have been. I don't think so.
Oh, he was
I
playing
don't think.
Bloodthirst, if you're talking about this
Yeah,
past weekend, yeah.
yeah. He was playing somebody else.
But that's the thing.
I thought
Like,
it was funny.
so on like when it comes to an offline, the worst you're probably gonna get is someone really pissed off and probably like looking at you with a really bad face. Nobody's actually gonna say that to your face because if not, it actually leads to really aggressive confrontation. So I think that like
oh yeah,
that
people will
it's
fight.
like, yeah, people are going to fight. Like
In
it's
offline
very,
tournaments, would yelling at somebody like up in their face while you're playing, would that be like bounds for a DQ?
Not necessarily.
so yeah, not
Bounds,
necessarily.
not bounds.
It just depends on like the situation, and obviously we have to get better at the rules and stuff. That was something we discussed last week, or a week before about like all these allegations and stuff. Like the rules and the conduct kind of needs to evolve a little bit more to cover some bases that are out there. But for the most part, again, any like it would be either after where they're like, "Yo, what a scrub type of thing, but not even then, because again, the underlying fear of an actual confrontation happening is very, very like
It's
it's there.
unlikely. It's very unlikely, though.
Yeah, and it's very unlikely. But for the most part, a lot of that toxicity happens online, but that's because everybody feels like they're safe behind a keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In an offline, people don't really go solo. They usually run in crews. Like, if you're going to sit there and scrap with someone, you're scrapping with all
They got
5 of
the
their
squad.
homies. Yeah. And in SoCal specifically, everybody fucking knows each other, right? Like, you know, obviously there's Steve here. Like all of us know each other, and you know, we have each other's cell phone numbers, and we all kind of get along. So that stuff doesn't happen. But I know that that's kind of specific to the SoCal scene because we're one of the older scenes. So it's like the rules and the ethics have been there forever. It's like, dude, it's well known that if you start some shit, you're, you know, one of the most famous pop-offs, if you go on YouTube, is LTG and Viscant. And it, you know, YouTube likes to clickbait that shit, right? YouTube likes to clickbait. Oh yeah, some, you know, scrawny white guy was about to fight a buff black dude at a fighting game tournament, and I was part of that scene. I was there, and I was like, dude, there was no way in hell LTG was gonna lay a hand on Viscant. Like they were playing it up for the camera. Valle was cheering it on because it made for good content, but in the back of their minds, Viscant and LTG knew that if it got to hands, that entire building was going to fuck both of them up. Because the community is very protective of itself. They don't like outsiders, and they don't like people rocking the boat. And if somebody got into a fight, it would be a bad look for the entire scene. And we're all going to fuck you up for ruining our party. So it's funny that YouTube likes to, you know, all the YouTube clickbait fuckers like to sit there and, oh yeah, I almost came to blows, and it's like, no, dude, I was there. They did not come to blows. They shook hands afterwards. Everybody's fucking buddies, you know. Nobody's gonna do anything. But that's not
YouTube
every
loves
scene.
this clickbait.
Yeah, but that's not every scene. So you always got to kind of have your guard up when you go to an offline. And again, most people don't roll solo, and it's not because they're afraid of getting into a fight. It's just, you know, you want your friends there. You want to hang out and have a good time. So you bring your buddies. But
with that, like I agree. Like, because part of it is it's one thing to be at home, chilling in your underwear, playing Mortal Kombat, right, online, and that's some online tournament. But it's different offline. You know, you're sitting there next to your opponent. Your opponent's probably a buddy, or you're someone you know, or someone you will get to know and become really good friends with, right? Like, having your opponent, you're just there to play some video games, and that shared goal, that shared intent, will lead to some camaraderie that I've not experienced in any other activity. You know, it's awesome.
yeah, you definitely make friends for life when you start going to tournaments. That's one of the bonuses to offline versus online. Because online it's just a screen name. Like, who cares? Fuck that guy. I'm gonna beat his ass and I'm gonna get this money. But when you're offline, you know, yeah, we talk about beef and we talk about scrapping, but I don't want you to get the wrong impression, because when you're at an offline tournament, you make friends like you would not believe, because people are generally offline a lot cooler than they are online. Like, you'll sit there and lose a match, and then afterwards the person that beat you will be like, hey, you know, this move is -10. You could punish it with this. You want to run some sets afterwards? And then next thing you know, you're exchanging phone numbers and having lunch on the, you know, that Saturday. Like, that happens all the time at offline tournaments.
I do want to do another one. I want to do one where I'm more prepared.
You'll never be prepared.
Because, like, now I know at least for, like, now, I know that I need to, like, double check everything. Because I went in just assuming that everything was fine. But now I know that, like, before I go in, I need to double check everything. Make sure that the PlayStation Plus is up to date. Make sure that just everything in general, like, my internet is working. The internet's not going to fall, because sometimes the router falls and then it disconnects everything. I need to make sure that everything is perfect, and then the only thing that I really have to worry about is my nerves. which again, I hate tournamenters. Those suck.
Yeah,
I did not like that.
you get. To,
I was.
you don't,
I
you deal with
assumed
them,
that
though.
when people were, because when I watch tournaments all the time, I watch ones that Saki hosts most of the time, or ones that Saki is in. I love you and I support you always. But I always watch them, and I see people getting like really upset or just like heated, and I always got like kind of confused. I was like, okay, like why are you getting this? Like, what is the point of tournament nerves? Like, why are you getting so worried or frustrated about it? And then I was on the other side playing in it, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's what they mean.
Yeah,
That's terrifying. I don't
shit
like
your
that.
pants.
But also, I want to do it again.
You will shit your pants. They are. It's scary, and people. It's easy to be like the armchair video game expert. You know, it's easy to sit there and backseat drive when you're watching a tournament. Like, oh man, they should have punished that. And it's like, it's real easy to fucking say that shit when you're not on stage. Like, you haven't even played on a stage yet. That shit is even worse because now everybody in the fucking building is watching your match. And they're like, oh my God, he should have anti-aired that. What a bitch ass. This guy sucks. Why is he here? Like, oh God. And you, like, being able to shut that out it is literally its own skill. Like, the people that do well in tournaments, they do well in tournaments because they can deal with that stuff better than the average person. It's not that they're that much better at the game, because I see people online that are good enough to like really go far in tournaments, and I'm like, yeah, if you went, you'd probably do pretty well. But it's like once you put them in that environment and in that situation, they just crack. We call it the reptilian brain. Traditionally speaking, it's like, yep, he's gone into lizard mode. His brain has shut off, and he is now a lizard. And you see it all the time when you go to a tournament. You'll see like, oh, yep, that guy, he's just sitting in the corner blocking now. He has given up. He is reptilian brain. The guy, he'll lose the match to like 10 grabs in a row because he's just got mind fucked and he's done. It's one of those things where you have to think of your mental composure as a resource. Think of it as like your meter, right? You want to spend as little as possible so you have it when you need it. And that's why a lot of people don't, they stick with really simple, basic stuff. They don't go for optimals. They don't go for tight links because that's just one more thing you could potentially screw up. And once you screw something up, as you could probably attest, you're like, oh, I missed a punish. And now the entire rest of the day, you are thinking about that missed punish.
I have been thinking, like, after the tournament ended, after I lost, and then, like, even this morning, I was just thinking about it. I was like, I could have handled that so much better.
Well, and you played Jade.
I played Jade, and I've been, like, practicing with Cassie all this time. I feel like if maybe I had gone with Cassie at one point, I may have done a little better because I have been practicing with her a bunch. But even if I didn't, if I had just stuck with Jade and like I did, but if I had handled the situation better, I feel like I would have done better.
Maybe. I mean, the thing is, the reason why we all encourage you to play Jade is because Jade, she's an easy character, right? She doesn't have a lot of tight combos. She has some that are difficult, but they're not necessary. You can win without some of her more difficult stuff. And that's why I specifically was like, yeah, you're dropping every Cassie combo, but you're nailing everything with Jade. Like, let's not add to the fire of things that could go wrong. Let's just keep it as simple as and basic as possible. Like, imagine trying to play Kung Lao in a tournament with all his goofy, hard-ass fucking one-frame links and shit. And you're just like, oh, I dropped a combo. And when you drop a combo in tournament, like, you're just destroyed for the rest of the day because all you can think about is I could have won that match had I not dropped that combo. And even when you're in when you're in your next match, you're thinking about your last match. You're like, oh fuck, dude, I wouldn't be playing this idiot in loser bracket if I had not dropped my combo. Like, oh fuck, well, I suck. I need to quit. I'm done. I hate fighting games. I'm gonna play Halo. I need a team. I need people on my team.
Like, Saki did 2 exhibitions last night, right? And I
don't know
missed
what's wrong
them
with-
because
Don't
I didn't know
follow-
where they were.
Do not follow my footsteps.
I
Okay?
was gonna say, I'm like, I don't understand how you do that, because I remember, like, what was it, a couple weeks ago, you did 4 back to back.
Yeah.
Because she's an
And
animal.
I watched her on stream, and I watched her get like more drained, and I felt so bad because I wanted to give you a hug. I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you did 2 back to back yesterday. I could barely handle 1.
So I'm just hungry. Like Badger's brought it up before. It's not a matter of me trying to win every one of them. It's just a matter of trying to put my name out there. So
Yeah.
with everything I do, it's just like I want people to know that, like, when they see the word or the name Saki Sakura, they know that they don't feel like it's just some chick playing video games. And I
Yeah.
say that because someone actually told me that yesterday. His name's Z. He's a really good Raven player, and he's been hanging out with us more. And he was telling me that before he knew me, he had his friend who was a Kodo player in one of Aquaman's tournaments, and apparently that person fought me, right? And one of the things that Yi said to him, and his friend agreed with him, was like, "Oh, this is just some chick. You're gonna mop her 3-0 easy." Right?
My God.
And then he told me that I won. I guess I teabagged him, but I'm gonna explain to you why I teabagged him.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So his friend raged and everything, and like Yi was agreeing to him, oh, like, she's just a scrub, she mashes, whatever. And when we were talking about it yesterday, I'm like, listen, the story behind that is actually a little deeper than just some chick playing video games. I did an exhibition like a week before. I lost. I don't know who the name was. I know it has FGC in their name, but I lost to this really good Kodo player. This Kodo player like actually broke me to the point where like Herbs was like, I don't think Saki's ever gonna come back from this because she's so mad. But I powered through it because the next day I was labbing, I was looking at my replays, I was understanding and this was when Bullock was still Bullock. I was like understanding what the fuck was happening, like what is going on, what is this, how do I handle this character. I asked for games with Dr. Platt, and I asked him to help me explain the character. And then when Aquaman's tournament comes, I think I get knocked out by what is his name? It's the next gen Jackie player.
Which
like
one?
The only
Which one?
Which Jackie
No,
player?
There's a million Jackie
No,
players.
they play next gen only. It's something with Sunio. So I played against Sunio. Sunio knocked me into losers bracket, and then my entire losers run was all Kodos.
Oh my God.
So
Kodo
I
boys.
Kodo after Kodo after Kodo, and his
But
friend,
you knew the matchup, right?
You
I
knew
knew
after the end of that.
Yeah.
if I didn't know before, I knew after it. So, but I had already talked to Dr. Platt. Like, I spent that entire week just practicing against Kodo. So when I went up against all of these Kodos, I was just mopping them 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. And when I got to his friend was thinking that way, I guess, at that time. And
Because you're just
I
a Twitch
teabagged
thought.
him.
You're just a booby streamer, right?
Yeah, pretty much that's what they thought. And so then as soon as I knocked him out, I teabagged him because I had been through so many Kodos, right? And then
Sick of it.
I was sick of it. So then I went and I fought Crispy, who Crispy then knocked me out. But of course, Crispy's an upgraded Jackie. You know, there's just so much with that character.
Right.
So, but like, it's like I bring the story up, and it's one of the cooler stories to talk about because even Earth talks about it. Is because I'm so hungry to let people know that like I'm more than just my gender, basically. So that's why I do so many. I'm not saying you have to do that because you probably have a different goal in mind, and everybody has different goals.
I'm saying
But
she does, though.
But
I want to have a nice time. It seems fun. I just want to know what it's like.
For me, it's just more of like, you know, I'm I'm not gonna let you assume that just because of my gender, you're not gonna get your ass beat, or
Yeah.
I can't do what you can do, or I can do what you can do and even better. And that's why I TO so many tournaments. That's why I sign up for all of these exhibitions, because I'm gonna keep pushing myself until I can't push anymore. Some people call me crazy. I've never said I was sane. So.
Well, and you touch on an important point, and it was one of the reasons why I've really like pushed Tat. Is like, let's be honest, okay? Girls in gaming in general, but specifically in fighting games, they're known for being kind of sucky, and it's important that the girls that aren't really just there to be Twitch thoughts, that are actually good and actually play, and it's important that they get their name out there because people don't know. And like you said, in that tournament, those guys walked in like, oh, this is just a fucking wash. Like, it's a girl. Like, I'm just going to beat her ass. And they had no idea who the fuck they were dealing with, you know? And I think it's very important, you know, to highlight, hey, like, women do play this game. And, yeah, a lot of them are pretty bad, but not all of them are bad. And the ones that aren't bad are definitely going to rock your shit. And so having someone like Tat, you know, it's your first tournament, you've never done this before, you know, maybe you'll do it again, maybe you won't, but I really hope that you do, because the world just needs more of you. It really does. And it has nothing to do with we need more gamer girls that are good. It's more of we just need more players that are serious and put in the effort and try to get good. And unfortunately, a lot of them are guys. So when we find one that is a girl, it's like, God, we gotta cultivate this. We gotta keep this person in, you know, we gotta keep this person here. And that's one of the stigmas that the scene has, you know, because people talk about how it's like super toxic and like everybody's a misogynist and everybody hates girls. And I'm not going to say that that doesn't happen, but specifically in the offline scene, online people are going to talk shit because it's online. But in the offline scene, I've never, ever, and I come from one of the most toxic tournament communities in the world, I've never seen someone like make a female player feel unwelcome here in SoCal. Like when a girl shows up, everybody's like, oh shit, a girl. Like, please come back. Please come back. Like, don't leave. We need you here. Please play video games with us. You know, and I think it's really, really good that you stepped out and gave it a shot. And, you know, hopefully
I really
it inspires
wasn't going
others.
to, because it's Saki. I panic messaged Saki when I got the message from Candy asking me to be in the tournament. I screenshotted the message before I even like accepted the message request. I sent it to Saki. I was like, Saki, what do I do? Because my brain was like, okay, Saki organizes tournaments, so she will be like, she might know who this is, or at least like what's going on. And then she was like, oh yeah, I put your name in. And I was like, you did what? I'm sorry?
Just need a little push.
And I was not going to. I was literally sitting there. I thought I was being trolled also. I thought it was just like a troll thing.
No,
And I was
just a little push.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was debating, and I asked my parents, and, you know, like my mom and dad, they were like, go for it. Like, do it. What's the worst that can happen, you know?
The worst that could happen is your PlayStation Plus doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. I was just in my head, I was like, do I really want to do that? You know, I said, originally I was like, yeah, okay. And I said yes, and I thought that I had time, looked, and I had 2 days.
You never have time.
That kind of bothered me.
It happens. I've been like invited to tournaments where they're like the same day, and it's crazy. It's like I said, we discussed at the beginning of the stream that like the way, like the idea was great, it was just executed really poorly. That's unfortunately like that's
A bit rushed.
Yeah, that's the one.
It felt a little unorganized.
Well, it was
like,
their first tournament
like,
too, wasn't it?
That's not me like talking crap on the tournament. Like, I had a nice time and it was a really fun thing, but it did feel just a little bit rushed and like, oh, okay, we're just gonna throw all these things out. And like, they did it well. It felt kind of weird. But I thought maybe that was just me because it was my first one, and I just thought, oh, maybe this is how they do it. You let people know 2 days in advance.
Well, it does give
And
you
that's just how it works.
it does give a degree of respect for Aquaman because God, his tournaments run so damn smoothly. I think it was Kanoichi's first one, right?
No, this
I
was their
think
second
so.
because they had an invitational before.
Oh,
Even
okay.
the invitational was a little like all over the place. Again, this is one of the many reasons why I didn't want to participate, because I have only so much energy, and I'm trying to be really good about the energy that I give out and give into things, and like I just did not want to I just did not want um to like just be part of something that like my values and my everything, like everything I work for, like I can just skip this tournament. I rather give
And that
that
was totally
spotlight,
fair.
and I rather give that spotlight and that highlight to the actual women who don't really get a voice a lot of the times too, because again, like I know Badger, he said, oh, but she could probably go through all of these women, Saki, and like you're probably right.
Yeah, I was
Maybe.
like, if Saki's in this tournament, it's a wash. Like I saw Shauna,
Like,
and I was
whatever
like,
you
she
Glad
might
that
be a
Saki
problem.
wasn't in it. I'm glad that Saki wasn't in it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I play Saki. We do first to 5 sets. I always try and get some with Saki because I love Saki. And I always try to get them. But if I had to fight Saki, she would mop the floor with me because she knows all of my tricks.
Well,
She
I don't
knows
know.
everything.
No.
Well,
I don't
okay.
know.
You know how I play it.
Not even.
You,
So this is where I tell you, like this is where
what?
I tell you, like so like before I continue like the first point, I just want to let you know
Oh,
that like
right, sorry.
when I'm fighting, I'm not thinking about how you play unless you're like someone who's more of a flowcharty character, or not character, but more of a flowcharty personality. I'm thinking about what you're going to do in these situations and how I'm going to respond to these situations. I'm not just labbing how you play, I'm labbing on how to react to everything you throw at me. Because
Mm.
if you do something crazy, I'm going to have an answer for you. And that's what I keep trying to push for, is like every loss isn't me trying to like analyze what that person does. It's me trying to find a way to answer for it, and the different answers that I can give to you, because I don't want to just give you one answer. I want to give you 10, so you have to think about doing that same thing you just did 20 times before you do it again. But as far as like again the tournament, I'm pretty sure I could have done really well, but
Oh,
I
yeah, for
have
sure.
my stream, I have other tournaments, I have other exhibitions, I have
Yeah.
other stuff that I work on and I give my energy to, that like this is a moment for the other women that that want to be known, and this is the perfect stepping stone, because this was the very same stepping stone and opportunity that I got when I first started playing in Babality, playing in all the ladies tournaments.
Wait, there was a tournament called Babality that
Yeah.
was for girls. That's so fucking
There is-
awesome.
There is a group called Babality. That's how I actually started. It was by Lumia and Manuska. It's kind of like silent right now, but we are trying to like restart it. But I got into MK11 deeper than what I could have done. Like on my like I could have had a slower start if it wasn't for these ladies that actually helped me get better and push forward and actually become stronger. And then they did like their own tournament, and that's when I was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to do the best I can in this tournament. I did exactly that. I commentated, I played in it, I even got to their top 8 invitational because I earned enough points. And again, that's the stepping stone that helped me get to where I am today. And again, I feel like I need another stepping stone if I want to keep going. But this what that event was yesterday, that's a phase or a part where like I'm passing it on to, like, for example, you, Taturium. I think you have potential. I think you're gonna do really awesome. If you set your limit, but I at least can safely say this is your moment. Take it, do what you want with it, but take it. That's all you need.
That's something that I was trying to drill to her yesterday. I was like,
Yeah, it's true.
Saki's name carries a lot of value within the scene. So you're walking into this with a personal endorsement from her, which carries a lot of weight. Like, she was like, I don't know if I want to do it. And I was like, no, you need to do it, because Saki's not going to go to bat for anybody. And if she does go to bat for somebody, it's going to matter to the people that you need to matter to. You've been kind of given a pretty big opportunity, and it's just something you don't want to just pass up on lightly. Because Saki does a lot of work, and when she sticks her neck out for somebody, it really matters. It means something. People are going to listen.
I was like really honored when Saki was like, "Oh yeah, I put your name in because I thought that you would like this," and I was just like, I felt so happy. I was like, "Oh my god," because I had like recently mentioned that I was thinking about it. I did not expect Saki to like do that and it be so soon, but I loved it. It was cool. I felt so happy.
And this is actually for everything. Like, I have artists and like my video editor, for example, and like I strongly believe that the people who helped me bring my channel up also deserve to be brought up with me. So with every new thing that I do, like for example, I have a video editor. He does a lot of my videos on YouTube. He does one video a week, but it's all I can afford and it's all that we can do. But I know he has such good quality that I'm willing to like say, hey, you need a video editor? Because someone will be like, hey, I need video editors on Twitter. I'm like, bet, here, take this name. This is him. Let me know how he does. He's super awesome. If you need his portfolio, just look at my channel. And the same thing with my artists. Like, you need I have this artist. She's really awesome. If you need emotes done, this is the girl to do it. She does really good work. And you just, like, I strongly believe in that, because without you helping me get to where I am, that's like a huge, like, I'm super grateful. And I don't know how to repay that, because I feel like I should repay that, because I'm very, like, I'm super appreciative of people. But if I can help you in bringing you up as like that, thanks, and I'm gonna take it, because I see the same fire, I see the same potential, and I just strongly feel that like everybody should reap the reward, not just one person.
Well, you also want to be the next ketchup and mustard discovering video games, yo. I mean, that's always really cool and fun when you've got a player that you know is a killer that no one's ever heard of. And then you're like, yo, dude, get in this tournament. I'm going to go to bat for you. And then they go in and they mop. And you're just like, yeah, I knew that. I discovered that guy. Like how Ketchup and Mustard, they were talking about this Shao Kahn player no one had ever heard of. Yeah, we know this guy. He's fucking great. Like, no one's ever heard of him. And they finally talked him into going into a tournament. And he takes third place. And everybody's like, holy shit. And I bet you Ketchup and Mustard were like, yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, I found that guy.
That was such a worry of mine. I was literally like, while I was having like my panic attack after I got 3-0'd and then got sent into losers, I was literally crying because I had thought that I had let Saki down, because I knew that she took her time, she put my name in there, and then I got mopped. And I was so worried that she was going to be like disappointed in me. I was so worried.
Oh.
You know how many times I've gotten mopped?
My little heart was so sad.
Like, Badger can tell you, and I'm sure Badger's been mobbed too. Like,
no, never.
We're not. Listen, we're proud of you for doing what you just did, which is take that first step, and you gave it.
I did it.
And you, like, again, this is coming from someone who is super shy, who's like, just like, like everything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud with how you did, and just with how you were like playing in the match just shows that like your time on Badger's channel, on my channel, like you're learning, and that's all we want. Like, literally, Badger, what do you want from your viewers?
Money, lots and lots of money.
He's lying. I know
Nope.
he's lying.
But the thing is,
he knows he teaches. He knows.
Played him. I was playing and he told me to go lab because, like, with a Cassie combo, he said, hey, you're doing this, but I want you to go practice this. And then I went and I played him the next day. That was like Friday. And he told me that it was like playing a different person and that he was really proud of me. And my heart got all happy.
I just melt women's hearts. That's just what I do. I'm a professional.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that you should be most proud of, like Saki said, is taking that first step, because 80% of the community is bitch ass, right? Sonic Fox said it himself. 99% of you people watching my show suck. And a lot of that, oh wow, a lot of that suckiness comes from the fact that people just don't have the stones to do what you did. Like, people won't take that first step. They're like, I don't want to enter a tournament. I'm just going to get beat. And it's like, yeah, you are. Everybody goes 0-2 their first time. But I
went into it not thinking about it. I went in because I knew that I was not going to win. Because I was like, thinking realistically, I cannot go into this thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to dominate this whole thing. I'm going to win. I wanted to go in and get the experience. But I also didn't want to embarrass myself. Which is why I'm kind of glad that my matches didn't get streamed. Because now, no one knows.
Yeah,
except
they
for
would
the
have seen
people,
your
me and the
flawless.
people I played. Yes, they would have seen that. Which was cool.
We take those. Like, my pinned video for the longest time was at from a match I had with Deoxys right around the time the game came out at Beyond the Summit. And you got to take those little wins, right? He mercied me, and then I turned it around and I took the game, right? Because you take those. So all those little victories will add up in your head, because you have those experiences, and it's a little moral upbeat for yourself. I lost my train of thought. It was on the tournament stuff. Like, your experience matters, whether you did well or not, and you going in there with this attitude of, oh, I know I'm not gonna win. I wouldn't say that's the ideal mindset to go into. You should be going in there with the idea that, hey, I'm going to do as best as I can. I'm going to try to win, but if I don't, this experience will help, because a loss is not a loss if you learned from it. And did you learn anything from your time in that tournament? It could be the smallest thing. And if you learn something, if you have something in your head, it's like, oh, I can do this, or I should be going about this like this. I should be taking this matchup like this. Oh, the mirror match with Jade is going to play a lot different than a matchup between Jade and another character. You having that knowledge, that new learned experience, negates that loss. Like, who cares? I went 0-2. I learned a lot about this matchup. I learned a lot about how tournament experience goes. I learned a lot about how tournament nerves affect me. Like, anything you learn from any of your losses negates that loss. It's like, big deal. It was a learning experience.
Well, just even that first step, like, just even having the nerve to get in there is something that you should take a lot of pride in. Like,
Definitely.
Because I'm telling you, and this is why I wanted you on the podcast today. I talked it over with Saki, and I was like, this is kind of a big thing that we should highlight, with our platform, is a lot of people.
Baby's first tournament.
Yeah, people are scared to do that. And, like, for you to step up and say, all right, man, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Like, that's bigger than you think. It really is. Like, I can't stress that enough. So many people just don't have the stones to go out there and risk the humiliation and risk, getting blown up on the stream. And you didn't get streamed, but you didn't know that you weren't going to get streamed. That's pretty fucking brave. Like, a lot of people,
just went in, I didn't know what I was doing. And then I found out that I was going to be streamed, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I wasn't. Yeah. Because of the issues.
And a lot of people won't enter.
But I just did it anyway.
Because of that. They just won't go, and that's so cool, right? You just wet your bed.
I went with it.
Oh, I thought you said you just wet your bed. I was like,
no,
oh, shit, over a tournament? God damn! I mean, I've been nervous, but my bathroom's pretty close. My bathroom's like a door away. I can get to it pretty quickly if I need to. But we're all like super proud of you, and like I think it's really cool that you stepped up and put yourself out there. And I really hope that this is a start to you growing and maturing with this as something more than just a hobby that you do when you're bored and you want to come watch me and Saki like teabag people, because I'm serious when I say that the scene needs more people like you. Not even just that the scene needs more girls, that just the scene needs more dedicated players that are willing to put out that effort, because there's just not enough of them. And the fact that you're a woman, it makes you stand out a little bit more, and it makes it a little bit more important what you're doing, because, like, there aren't that many female players, and female players have historically had a bad reputation for not being very good. So the fact that you're out there and you're doing good and you're making a name for yourself and you're rewriting the story, that's big. In my book, that's pretty big, and it's a lot to kind of throw on someone's shoulders. So I think it's really cool that you're stepping up and, taking on that kind of quasi responsibility. Because Saki can't do it alone. She couldn't even make it to this tournament.
Wow.
She couldn't even, because I'm saying she got so much on her plate, like she can't do it alone. She's got to have other people with her in it, right? Like she can't go to every tournament, and every tournament is an opportunity for exposure, especially when it's an all-female invitational. A lot of people don't know that there are girls out there that are actually good at the game. We got to get them exposure, and Saki can't get to every single tournament 24/7. So, you got to do it too, Tat.
Replacement.
You got to do it. You got to go to tournament. You got to go, and you got to be there when Saki can't. That's what it is.
I'm Saki's replacement.
Nobody's a replacement of me.
Not replacement, legacy.
Understudy.
There you go, understudy. That's a good word.
Nah, legacy. When the story on Saki is done being written, they'll be like, yeah, Saki was pretty good, but remember how she discovered that girl Tat? Yeah, she's pretty badass. That's what you got to do. You have to ascend, You're not the next coming of Saki. Saki was the Taturium prototype. Keep that mindset. Now Saki's going to be mad at me. Well, I don't know, man. Taturium's just kind of all right.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Anyways, I got stuff to do. So, how about we wrap this up?
Yeah, we are coming to the end. We are now an hour in. You guys want to shout out your social media real quick?
Yeah. So, mine is Saki Sakura TV, pretty much all the way, on Twitter and on Twitch. So, yeah.
And she's on YouTube.
Yes, I am.
And Tat doesn't have a YouTube or a Twitch yet, but we're working on it. She does have a Twitter. You can follow her at Taturium. It's just Taturium, correct?
Yeah.
And, of course, obviously, if you're watching my channel on Twitch, then you already know where it's at. I also have a YouTube where I post these podcasts, and I do have a Twitter as well, and a Discord and all of that. I believe, Steve, you have a YouTube and a Twitch and a Twitter as well.
Those first two are pretty inactive. I do have a Twitter though, and I do retweet some memes. So
he is a meme.
Send me a meme.
He is a meme master.
On occasion, I love them. They make me laugh. It's just at Steve36. I wasn't even supposed to be here. I just kind of popped my head in, and
it's all
so
good. As
my
long
bad
as you
for
didn't
doing
say
all
the
that.
F word.
Nah, I don't say nothing to nobody.
But I want to thank you guys for coming out and doing this podcast. And I want to thank everybody watching at home live or listening at home, not live on YouTube or what have you, wherever else this is posted. That was your weekly Kombat pack. I'm going to get out of here. I need more coffee.
Bye.
I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.